Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Don't Wait Till Monday podcast. I'm your host, Kirsten Quigley, and today I have a very special guest who has grown near and dear to my heart over this past year. I'll introduce a little bit about him, how we met. Obviously, you guys know the drill, and then we'll get into it. So, hi, Mom. My guest today, his name is Drananda Summons. We met actually through Love Blue, the nonprofit that I've talked about before. If you follow me on my socials, you would know about it. And he is originally born in Columbia, South Carolina, and he is partially raised in New Jersey, where he is now in California. He attended Holt International Business School and currently studies at the Pacific School of Religion. He is the CEO and chairman of Summons Production, an entertainment and design firm established in 2017. And he is the presiding officer and chairman of Refuge of Mount Olive, also known as ROMO, established in 2019, which is a nonprofit organization dedicated to ministerial operation, community outreach, and empowerment. And he is also an independent artist, singer, and songwriter established in 2021. And like I had already mentioned, he is a fellow e-board member at Love Blue Inc., another nonprofit. So he comes with many experiences, many stories, a lot of passion. And the moment I met him through the screen, I was like, this is exactly the kind of person I'm looking for on my podcast. Somebody who comes with vibrant energy, who wakes up and you can tell they love what they do every day. So without further ado, Drananda Summons, welcome to Don't Wait Till Monday podcast. I am so excited to have you here. Thank you so much for being on my show.
Thank you, Kirsten. Truly a privilege, a pleasure to be here today.
So we are going to get started. Like I mentioned, he is the CEO and chairman of Summons Production. So that's what we're going to go ahead and get started with talking about. So first, initially, just go ahead and tell us more about how this came to be. When did you discover your love for music and the arts? Tell us more about it.
So, music has been the most constant thing in my life through the ups and downs and how eventful my life has been. Music has been therapy, it has been spiritual, it has been, again, that constant that has allowed me to stay vibrant and encouraged throughout my years and my young years because I'm only 26. But Summons Productions came about when I was in college. I went to Holt International Business School, and there I was able to meet a collective of authentic business leaders that we were encouraged to not just get into a corporate style of leadership and not just master the corporation of leadership, but to master the authenticity of your leadership, what you've been called to. And music was a thing that, where I come from, it's a great thing to have in your belt, but you're not going to make money off of it. And it's not guaranteed. It's not a career to really look forward to. The type of background that I come from, again, music has always been constant coming from the church where my great grandmother was my first pastor and she was a singer. And that music ministry, sustaining it, being brought up in ministries such as Love Center Ministries and City of Refuge, UCC, who their songs and their music are imprinted in contemporary gospel music. I was able to really develop my own rapport and understand, okay, maybe I've been called to do a little something different. And every time I was called to do something musically, people received it in such a holistic way. And I had some meditative time to get to a point of saying, all right, do I want to do this full time? And I took that yes, and I decided to use all of my leadership skills, all of my administrative skills that I had from experiences and from college, and to take that and to establish the entertainment and design firm of Summons Productions.
Yes, and I love that. And I know you said that, music's been a big part of you since you were younger and with your grandmother. But when you were in school, did you ever, or before school, did you ever think about going to school for music? Or did
No,
you? No.
no. I again, my headspace was you get into those top three degrees, law, business, or medicine. So I said, well, I like people, and I think business is the best avenue. But to even consider myself um, going to school for music, that was no, no.
But it always played a part in the back of your mind, right?
I always had a great respect for music, and I did take music theory classes in college later. but that was a way later situation.
Yeah. And so, how has music, again, since you talked about it, um,
Yes,
being with your, being kind of instilled to you and having this respect from a young age, how would you say that music has shaped you into the person that you are today?
it is helped me as a black man, as a individual associated within the LGBTQIA plus community, within understanding my identity. Music has played a great role in that. As I've learned the historical context of the music that I respect and enjoy listening to, I've witnessed the justice and the inclusive efforts that were taken, that only in music it were invited. When we think of the desegregation of America, when we think of the social uproars and changes that took place, music was such a prominent figure in that. And again, as I mentioned, music being that constant in my life, I went through a lot of challenges. Before the age of 16, I went into 23 different foster homes. Both of my biological parents struggled with addiction. So I had to grow up at a very young age. And it didn't matter when I was hopping over to foster home. The thing that I noticed, that even though these were very, very different homes from one another, that thing that was constant was music. It was that thing that could break those icebergs of disconnect and even discontent that was maybe in the atmosphere, even in the home. And I was able to bring that to life. And in each situation and setting as life continued, I was able to associate a form of music. Even in my worship experience at church, I was able to almost advance the experience compared to just soak in it. And it's invited me to a whole level of responsibility within that space. So it's been a great imprint on my life. It's been extremely relevant, and it shall sustain in relevancy.
Yeah, that's a really beautiful story. We discussed a little bit about, your background previous to this, just getting to know each other, but I was really excited to talk about this on the story because, you're open and you're being vulnerable and I really appreciate that from you. But that's a really beautiful story you just told us about music and then it's been there for you and it's been consistent and how you identify with it as a Black person, as a person of the queer community, and how impactful those people of those communities have been to this industry. I'm glad that you found that with you throughout all of the ups and downs that life threw at you. Yeah, it's just a really beautiful piece that you just shared. So thank you for that vulnerability and sharing that. And you can tell just through, again, through your passion and everything that it's more to music to you, and you can see that it's really grounded you and sort of like set like it sits with you where you go.
Yes.
So looking into the industry again, as we mentioned, there's so many people we can thank right from the industry that have built it up from before it was, Apple Music, iTunes, or anything.
Yeah.
I'm wondering who in the industry has inspired you, especially in times when you really held on to music. Who was it, or what genre maybe did you feel most compelled to that has inspired you?
When we're talking songwriter, I would say Thomas Dorsey. Thomas Dorsey is responsible in the African American experience for writing songs for, again, artists such as Mahalia Jackson, such as Mama Thornton, um, and their diversity of the songs invited both spiritual and secular. And one of their most prominent songs that we may be familiar with is Precious Lord, Take My Hand. And of course, that is a popular song. And then on the secular space, he wrote songs like Till the Cows Come Home, which, if you listen to it, Sexy Red ain't got nothing on that type of sound. It was a level of understanding blues and spirituality And the reality is that, again, what I can represent is Black life. I can represent the Black life experience from the struggle and the good side. But I can definitely associate with the struggle and how we just can't ignore one side of the context. We have the rhythm and blues, and we also have the spirituality and the inspiration that has kept us as a people. So I have to say Thomas Dorsey's name, and I believe they set the tone for all the other people that I wish I can remember their names and I can acknowledge right now, and that would take a whole nother podcast to even discuss.
Hmm.
But truly, Thomas Dorsey, a contemporary artist, I truly respect Leon Thomas. Again, an artist who has been able to produce great sound through the unwarranted struggle that they experienced. Again, soul artists such as Aretha Franklin, um, Teddy Pendergrass, the DeBarge family, the Jackson family. We really can, the Hawkins family. It's truly um, endless for me to say the names of all the voices, all the leaders, all the songwriters, all the forgotten songwriters, all the forgotten voices, all the unsung heroes in music who really paved the way. My voice, my cry, my soul song represents them.
Yeah. And when you mentioned them as well, you even said like singer, songwriter. It went just past like, I like this person because of their music, like if I think about people that inspired me, I would just say, a few people who I thought were cool. But that's something I really adore and appreciate about you is you're very complex and deep thought with everything. I feel like unfortunately I'm kind of like a surface level thinker.
I don't think so.
Sometimes, but I mean, just from your answer in that itself, like you can see how deeply rooted these people mean to you and their sounds and their beats and their songwriting. And that's something I appreciate about the art as well is like actually listening to songs and hearing what people are saying and what it can stick
Yeah,
with, and even sometimes too, I know there's some singers that people love their music, but they hate the person, it's like you can love the art and hate the artist type of deal. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Yeah, I think those are I knew a few of the names that you mentioned, so forgive me for not knowing all of them. But yeah,
No worries.
I can see how they inspire you, and I love how you mentioned, the appreciation you have for them and how deeply rooted it is to you. So yeah, I love that. And now I want to talk about your music specifically as well. So your first EP was called Golden Hour, and your latest EP was called True. And I tried finding Golden Hour, and I couldn't
Mhm.
find it anywhere. I did find True, so I tuned that on. But tell us more about producing that first EP and then compare it to what it was like to producing the last one you just made.
Wow, yeah, you're taking me back here. So I can say Golden Hour was a produced. It is available on YouTube. It should be. Hopefully, it is. Hopefully, if they didn't take any of the rights off, because
Yeah, I'll have to check YouTube. Maybe I didn't.
yeah, it is not available on Apple Music and all of the other streaming platforms. But
Okay.
that is the first production that I decided, okay, I have to take this serious because I'm wasting a lot of time. And Golden Hour was produced after I got in some serious trouble. I got into some serious trouble. And I woke up and realized I was like, man, if you keep letting these small things get to you, you're not gonna get to the visions and the purpose that you're meant to live. You're just gonna let these small things trip you up, and you're gonna end up in some big mess that you can't get yourself out of. So Golden Hour was produced because of that. And I didn't have a team. Um, I didn't have the budget. I didn't have the resources at all, but I had a closet and I had YouTube that helped me out with learning self-production.
Mm-hmm.
And I purchased the immediate things that were necessary, and we released it. I wrote 3 songs on that EP: Love's Fool, um, Only Where the Party's At, and Clarification. And I believe those songs at the time really hit home to what I was going through at that time. Very personal experience for me. Fast forward the tape to True, I knew it was time for me to just get back out there musically. And as an artist, the quality and the budget is still, now we're going into an era where I believe Drananda Summons music listeners and enjoyers will really appreciate the quality of sound we're about to produce. We finally got the team. We finally got the backbone to actually produce good sound and quality. That has taken 5 years. No,
Yeah.
excuse me. It's taken, yeah, it's taken seven because it took some behind the scenes, and it was all by myself. And it took, so that I tell people all the time, um, don't give up, even if it's just you in that office by yourself every single stinking day. And it may seem like you feel crazy because you're the only one that received this vision about your life
Hmm.
for your life, but you have to keep doing the work. It took me 7 years to find a production team, a band, a music professional team to really take my music serious on an independent scale because I wasn't going to sign. I'm not going to sign. So it took me 7 years of labor, of intentional sacrifice, of unwarranted sacrifice
Hmm.
to get to this moment of quality. So I believe that's what True is about. True is about the love that I feel for my music and also in my personal life, because I feel as though I can't sing something I can't feel.
For sure.
And True really just resonates with that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so looking back, what do you think Golden Hour Janande would say to true Janande? Any words of affirmation? Any tips? Any regrets? What do you think?
Keep going.
Keep going. That's a good one.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Trust God. Just keep going.
Yeah. And I love how too you were saying, like it was a one-man show and now you have more of a team and you're getting these sounds together and you had to start somewhere, right? Everyone
Yeah.
started in their office, in their corner. Here I am, starting
Yeah.
my podcast and it was started in North Carolina. But here I am
I
in
hear you.
my fiance's grandparents' house doing it, and yeah, you always have to start somewhere and just keep going. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's really sweet. And then throughout all of your art, would you say you have a repeating message that you could try to convey throughout all of your projects? Or is it just, I know you mentioned, when you were creating Golden Hour, it was very, it was very in touch with what you were going through at that time or what you just overcame at that time. And so is it more like that, or would you say there is like a repeating message you can find throughout all of
I
your art?
believe the repetition of my sound is invited contemplation. Whatever I'm singing about, however way I'm singing it, it invites contemplation.
Mm.
Contemplation of good times, contemplation of not so good times,
Yeah,
contemplation of what you're going through, what you need to do, what
yeah,
you are reminded of doing. I believe even the songs that have inspired me, inspired Summons Review, which is the music band that I am with. It's all the music invites contemplation.
yeah, for sure. And I can definitely see that throughout the work as well and throughout just you as a person and your personality and the way that you are with words and people. I can totally see that. So now just moving on, getting a little bit more into someone's production. So there are a lot of layers that we have to go through with someone's production because like you just mentioned, you have someone's review, which we'll get to as well, but you also have um, some exciting tours coming up and you have Summons Radio. So I want to touch into all these things. So first,
For sure.
Summons Radio was started in February 2023. So tell us a little more about that. Kind of like give us a timeline of it happening, it forming, all of the details.
Hmm. So to give you the insight on how Summons Productions is built, we have four branches of service. We have the music department, we have Summons Music Department, Summons Firm, Summons Group, and Summons Catering. So that's where we are right now. In Summons Music Department, that's where we're talking about the tour. Summons Radio, all of our entertainment experience, musically and by brand. Summons Firm is focused on marketing establishment. We've worked with organizations such as Love Blue Inc. We've been able to work with established organizations such as AIDS Prevention of the East Bay for 3 prominent years. And we've also been able to partner with future organizations such as Oakland LGBTQ. When it comes to Summons Group, we are about real estate. We're about property design and development. I have an associate's degree in interior design.
Yes, I noticed that a little bit when I was stalking your Instagram. I was like, okay, your interior design.
Yes, yes. So
There's so many
that's where,
parts. Okay, so many moving
yeah,
parts.
yeah. We were privileged to partner with one of the top developers in San Jose back in 2020. And shout out to Ridgeway Home Builders. We love you, Erica, and the family. It is a family-owned brokerage, and so Erica would come in, build, design the homes, and then I would come in and help with the interior design. Our goal was to get on HGTV, but they didn't. They decided that they didn't want the best. Let's put it like that.
Right, they're lost.
So yes, we're still ready. I believe me and Erica, we're still ready though. But again, that invited so much opportunity for me to develop creativity in spaces. I am privileged to be saying that I'll be moving into my first big boy home. So I'll be doing my interior design and putting my personal touch. All of these years of being able to bless others with interior tastes and touches. Now I'll be able to do that for myself. And lastly, we have Summons Catering. Summons Catering is a soul food experience. We care, it's about the soul food culinary experience. We care about feeding the soul. We do have vegan, vegetarian, and traditional options from fried chicken, macaroni and cheese, barbecue tofu, collard greens with or without the pork,
There you go.
candy yams, fried fish, shrimp, gumbo, you name it, we are able to cater. So that is the breakdown of Summons Productions and why we as a team produce.
I see. So, okay. I was under the impression that, okay. So when I think of someone's production, I should stop just thinking about music because it's so much more. There's so much more. You just explained
There,
so
there
much.
is, there is.
Wow. Okay. This is like, now I'm looking at my questions and I'm like, oh my gosh, I could have done so differently. But that's okay because we're going to do many more episodes in the future.
Yes, yes.
Wow, wait, someone's production is a whole. I love this. And you know what I really like about this too, I need to mention because so many people, especially as like creatives and creators, like stick
Hmm.
to a niche, stick to this, stick to that. But if you feel a passion, you feel a pull for different things, why not go for all of them? And
Right,
you've been able to
right.
connect with so many people and you're expanding in so many different ways for it to just all be under one umbrella.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
love that so much.
Yeah, yeah.
This is so exciting. Okay, okay. I just had to acknowledge that because that just surprised me. I don't know how I missed that. That's awesome though. That's really cool. Okay, so anyways, back to the summons production parts that I did know of off the bat.
Summons Music Department.
Yes, so I was stuck on the music because that's how I know you as, with your music and everything like that.
For sure, for sure. We can definitely stay in that branch for this time.
Yes, yes, for this one. So
Yes.
let's continue with Summons Radio, February 2023. Talk about that.
So we established Summons Radio after a successful, long running experience of Romo Radio, Refuge in Mount Olive Radio.
Oh.
So Romo Radio was established before Summons Radio. And the idea, because Romo Radio was really, I decorated it. That's the best way I can. I decorated it in such pristine formality that I wanted a radio experience that did not require such that pristine listening experience. It was definitely coffee house experience. It was definitely if you were trying to understand inspiration from a very liberated perspective, then Roma Radio is your experience. Summons Radio, we talk about the music. We talk about Drananda Summons brand. We talk about current events. We speak about what's going on in the industry. We speak about what's going on in the communities. And it's in a raw and real perspective. I also did not want to be the voice of Summons Radio. So I'm glad that
Mm,
you want to talk about Summons Radio today.
yeah.
I wanted it to be led by a voice that was able to speak realism, understand the values and principles of Summons Productions and Summons Radio and how we roll, but also authentically roll in who they are. And then we were privileged and abled to receive such a profound voice that has been a fabric of Summons Productions for such a long time. Her name is Yolanda Michelle. uh, we know her in the office as Executive Yolanda Allen, but the world knows her as Yolanda Michelle. She is actually a radio host from North Carolina herself.
Mm,
She has followed the brand to California, and she has, since 2023, been sustaining the Summons radio experience. I do have a few episodes in there, and we do look forward to doing collaborative episodes like starting this upcoming month. Actually, we're launching next month. We got a lot going on this month with the tour. We'll talk about that next.
yes.
So, we have Executive Yolanda Michelle being our leader of our chief radio head for this Summons Radio experience. She has done a great job. I promote and support women leadership, so it was a sigh of relief to have such a caring person. When I tell you, she still comes into my virtual office like it's her first week, and
Mm,
she'll ask, is there anything else I can do? And she's been with the company for 3 years now, and
yeah.
she'll still ask, did I meet quota? Did I meet the standards? Where did we, how are we doing? And I'm looking at the reach. We have been able to reach over 25 countries in Summons Radio's
Wow.
experience thus far. And again, we're not like a weekly experience, we're more of a monthly experience. So for us to have that type of pull and experience, it has been refreshing. So I just have to commend Executive Yolanda Michelle for doing the work of Summons Radio and helping me have that vision come to life. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's really neat. And it's always really nice when you, like you said, you were able to find someone and they saw that vision and they were also able to bring it to life for you and share that
Yes.
experience. Forgive me again, but I knew that she was on there as well, but I didn't realize. I think I'm just getting so surprised by like so many different things. Or just like
We
all the moving parts.
For sure. We definitely acknowledge the idea in Summons Productions of ownership and really having your name on things. And that's where co-collaboration with Yolanda Michelle, and that's why I have to acknowledge her
Yeah.
and her essence, because a lot of people wouldn't be so keen on that level of co-collaboration when
Mm,
again predominantly their voice has been on it. And
mhm.
she has gracefully, and from a mothering standpoint all the way down to an executive to a coworker, have been able to sustain that form and honor myself as the chief executive, as the CEO. And again, Yolanda Michelle, she's old enough to have experience, and she has in her radio experience. She had experienced 20 plus years in radio. And for her to be so humbled in her professionalism to co-collaborate on that level is just it's I have to acknowledge it. I have to really bring it to the forefront. And that's the power that I believe you're experiencing.
Yeah, for sure. And we love to give credit where credit is due. And we love a good woman empowerment, woman in a leadership position, woman in a role just like that. So yeah, definitely
Yes.
credit deserved, shout out deserved. So now moving on, I know you had already mentioned Summons Review, which is your music band, a dynamic group of talented musicians who will bring a new dimension to the world of music and entertainment. So I'm really excited to talk about this because as a outsider in the music world looking in, I wonder, well, one, is this something you always pictured yourself having? Like when you pictured yourself with a mic, did you picture a band behind you? Also, how did you find this group? Were they already together? Did you have auditions? Like, spill
Great
the tea.
questions. Great questions. Yeah, you definitely want to know all this here. Yeah.
I do.
So Summons Review that first came to thought. I was in deep meditation because I wanted to get back into the touring experience, and for since we've been releasing music, I have just toured with tracks or with a band that was already, at the venue. And so
Mm-hmm.
those were typically the and it worked it was very well, it was unique, it taught me, again, I believe every artist, especially in today's world of tech and music, you should know how to sing with your tracks. However, as I was connecting with the management team, as I was speaking with Summons Productions executives, we were acknowledging that we need to take it to another level. We have to take it to another level. I recently appointed um, Chief Operating Officer of Summons Productions, Delvon. He is a brand ambassador and designer in the Bay Area, and he's been a partner within the company for 2 consecutive years now. And when it comes to the community organization and the production that he does, it was beneficial for us to really ask ourselves, how do we bring the attention onto our brand in the most beneficial ways, because all attention ain't good attention.
Mm-hmm.
So with the executive team, all in one accord, I said, all right, well, we're going to have to go moving forward with and also I want to acknowledge the executive management, Executive Wilfredo Zuluaga, who is also my partner in life. He has definitely been a benefactor in the music aspect of developing the live tour, and our creative design officer, Bako Tiem. So they've been really like behind the scenes, making sure that this tour is elevated to its capacity. Bringing it back to, all right, I came up with Summers Review. I decided with the name because back in the showcasing days, usually you had the artists that had reviews of different artists and showcasing different artists. And so I told myself, this is the band and the vision that God has given me. So this is my review, meaning this is my approval. This is it. This is for us. So everyone that you will hear, I have given them the wherewithal, the not even the blessing because they have the talent, but I've given them what they've given me. Let's put it like that.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what you will hear. What you will hear, that versatility and that fluidity in our playing. So I had to start somewhere with assembling the band. And
Mm-hmm.
so I was like, Lord help me. So I went on some apps and stuff, and things worked out. Shout out to Vamper app, who was able to help me really establish. I was able to find my drummer, Jordan, Jordan McGorwin, my bassist, Chris Luong. I was able to find my guitarist, Jericho Black. I was able to find rhythm guitarist, Tommy. I was able to find, through our drummer, Jordan, our astounding keyboardist and supporting director for the band, uh, Richie Watson. And I had to recruit them, like, I mean, call back, double text. It was just a very like cold case. It took me months to get the band actually on its feet. It
Mm-hmm.
took me some time, like, yeah, it took us like 6 months to actually get everything together. And just recently, we just had our first rehearsal where everyone was actually together.
Oh,
So
wow.
it takes time to get
Yeah.
things together. It takes time to get. I know that we live in such an instant gratification world, but guys, just take your time with your vision. Take
Yeah.
your time, because you will sit there worrying yourself trying to keep up with this person, that person. You don't really know how they did it. So that's how Summons Review was established, and so I just put all of my work, my from music direction to leadership to administrative work, all into right now the band. You know, they are
Yeah.
truly we've built such a culture and a community now within it, and I would like to explain it as a collectiveness of creators that are assembled. You
Mhm.
know, we are truly a blessing to one another, and individually and collectively we shine. I
Mhm.
let it be known from the beginning, which I was thankful that there wasn't any because these are some talented cats. There wasn't any ego, thrown around.
Mhm.
There wasn't any, and it was so much so that they gave me so much respect, and they still give me so much respect that they're saying, well, do you approve of this? And I tell them, if this is the best way to go, then it's not a me thing, it's a we thing. I
Yeah,
need
yeah.
you all as much as, you know, fish need water. We need each other to flow. And we've developed that level of understanding, of vulnerability with one another, where I believe that once we perfect the sound and as we perfect the sound, it will really benefit our audience in ways that will set us apart.
Mm. Yeah. And now when you guys, I guess, or like looking into songwriting now, is it like a together thing with that as well? Or
Yeah.
yeah, how's that look?
So the songwriting experience, well, as you may have done your research and know, I've already released 52 songs as an independent artist. And I understand, and we understand that time is of the essence. So there is a good amount of songs that I've already created that we're working on and creatively building and creatively developing in music theory to to really take it to not only the sound that is already heard, but really expand that sound on levels that could not have been if we were just so limited.
Hmm.
So we're first starting with Drananda Summons music that have already been established.
Hmm.
We're working on new music, and we'll save that for another episode. But yes, we're working on new music as well.
And that's exciting too. This is like a whole new avenue with a band now. Like
Yes.
that's so exciting.
Yes, it is a great release and it is a great blessing. I believe we have now and our amazing supporting vocalist, Chloe Joseph. How could I forget her? I cannot forget her. She is unforgettable. So yes, we have, I believe, a five-piece band now. And it's growing. It's really
Yeah.
growing. It's growing. Like it's growing. It's a blessing to be the captain of such a mighty ship. It is just such a blessing.
Yeah. And I think too is everything you get yourself into is a blessing in itself, right? Like what
Yeah.
you put out is what the universe gives back. And
Yeah.
I think you're exactly where you need to be,
Thank
and everything you've
you.
worked towards, everything you've overcome has gotten you to this place. And I mean, just looking at your smile right now, I can feel the excitement and happiness through the screen. So I'm so happy to see this for you. And I also
Yeah.
wonder, like looking into the future a little bit before we reflect and get on the tour,
Uh-huh.
just specifically with the band. I know we've discussed outside of this episode again, just casually before, but like some visions you see for the band with like, I remember you mentioning like what's that called? Tiny radio or
Yeah, the tiny desk with
yeah, Tiny
NPR.
Desk. Yes, excuse me,
Yeah,
I should know.
yeah. The band and I, we do have a collective understanding that we do want to take this on a career-based experience.
Yeah.
So we do want to have tiny desk experiences. We do want festival experiences. We do want parade experience and really we want the lounge experiences. We want those intimate experiences with artists as well as the major. So we are looking forward to that. I see again, as I have mentioned before, it's such a privilege to be a captain of a mighty ship because we are sailing and we are like we're cruising and it's to the point that after we're done rehearsing, everyone looks at me, okay, so when's the next rehearsal? Like, wait, I haven't caught my breath from hitting that last note
Yeah.
yet, you know? And that energy, you know, typically you have to drag people with you. Typically
Yeah.
you have to pay them multitudes of money to have that natural and authentic drive that
Mhm.
Summons Review has. And by yourself, you go the distance, but with others, you go the great distance. And I have a confident Summons Review. We are going to stick together and we are going to see a great promise nationally and across the globe.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I'm just so happy you found this. Um, it's amazing to see, and I wish nothing but the best for you guys. I'm excited
Thank
to
you.
follow your journey here on
Yes.
out, and I'm glad to catch you guys in the beginning of all of it and get a
Yes.
little scoop on it behind the scenes here.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. You'll never
but
know. By maybe 2026, 27, you'll be touring with us to be our interview person.
I mean, that would only be my biggest dream. I mean, oh my gosh, traveling and doing this, come on.
All right. We got
Even if
this
I'm just
recorded.
your number one fan in the stands, I'm like,
You
yes,
got you and Adam will have VIP tickets. Yes.
yes,
Yes.
yes, we love that.
Yes.
Um, okay, so now looking at the tour that is coming up, the Summons Tour 2025.
Hmm.
So you have been on tour before, yes?
Yes, I have.
So this is not that it's nothing new, but this is something you've done before. But looking back on these other tours you have been, what are some hardships you faced to get here, and how did you overcome them?
Um, the biggest hardship as an artist was really getting exposure, getting a
Mhm.
base of honestly, this is where I'm gonna get this is where I'm gonna get raw. Excuse me. Fuck a safe space. Like, listen to my talent.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck whether you need you know, and that was a challenge for me as an artist because, you know, I came in authentically me. And also being authentically me, I wasn't even come into some spaces. And I have to commend my agency team back in 2020 3 and 2024. I have to thank Stephen Harrison. I have to thank Griffin Fish for really making like ways out of no way. Like, I don't know how they got the bookings that they did. I was
Mhm.
in Columbia, South Carolina, to give you more insight during the time. I just recently moved back to the Bay Area, California. That was in 2020. All right, yeah. Anyways, so I
Yes.
recently moved back to the Bay, but prior to that, I was stationed back home, and this was during COVID lockdown as well.
Mhm.
So again, everyone's work was cut out. You know, as an artist, you were only getting the best of the best. Now in Columbia, South Carolina, it's not the most difficult space, but it's all about who you know. And I didn't know anyone, and it was hard to get to know people because everyone was always on the move, as you could imagine. And the spaces that we were invited to was like in a Windaw, you know, South Carolina, and like in Raleigh, North Carolina. And
Mhm.
thank God for these doors opening their space. I believe there were some queer inclusive spaces. I believe in Raleigh. We will get that name and shout them out next interview. But
Yes.
that was a queer inclusive space that invited me to perform. But the biggest difficulty was me to get exposure, you know.
Mhm.
And my thing was I'm ready to get this money so I can take care of my grandmama. So, you know, the my agency team, they just kept coming back with me with reports like we're really working hard, but it's hard. So I knew that moving back to the Bay Area where certain things wouldn't be a issue was best for the
Mhm.
music, was best for my career, was best for the Summons Productions and Refuge in Mount Olive.
Yeah. And when you say that things wouldn't be a challenge, are you speaking about you being a black man and also a part of the queer community, or is it different things?
It's one thing, Kirsten, being a black man.
Hmm.
It's another thing being a black gay man. All
Mm.
right. And then there's another thing being a black gay intellectual man.
Mm.
In other words, that means don't nobody fucking like you. Don't nobody give a damn
Mm.
about you.
I
You know,
do.
because yeah, thank you. And I know. And it's hard to find your space and your truth when again you also break a lot of norms and social expectations people
Yeah.
have of you and how you are to carry yourself, it becomes a dilemma and a distraction to your creativity, which it was for mine.
Yeah. And I can see that. I mean, obviously, I am not a black man or a black queer man like you. So clearly I don't understand and I can't sit here and say I understand,
For sure.
but yeah, I can see what you're saying and how that can totally affect you
For
and
sure.
especially like you just said dilemma and distraction. Yeah,
Yeah.
that those are some powerful words, but I felt that and I totally can see that. But I'm glad that you know, one stuck true to yourself and stayed authentic to yourself because again, that always sets you up for success in the ways and spaces you want to be in.
Yeah.
So I applaud you for that, and also, you know, taking that chance as well, going to moving to another area that you knew would benefit you better and just accept you more. Like, you know, I went to school in the South, so I understand how it can, or I saw how it can be down there, and I mean that's kind of a reason I'm not there anymore either. Like, I
Hmm.
also wanted to be in a space where with like-minded people who, you know, I could relate with and have the same respect for others and especially as a creative and you're trying to put yourself out there and even just like through music or whatever you're doing, you weren't even trying to like make this statement or anything and people had been, you know, maybe turned away just because of your identifications and I think that's so wrong
Yeah.
and
They had more criticism than
yeah.
solution. You
Yeah.
know, people, and they'll use even the things of that honestly everyone can relate to. They'll use sometimes your youth as you don't know shit. You don't know what you're
Mm-hmm.
talking about. You don't
Yes.
know anything. Like it was a defect of my youth as well because again I was 23, 24, 25. And people just look at you and they're just like, oh well, I don't need to. So again, there was that intellectual challenge. That was another
Mm-hmm.
thing that
Yep.
really on every scale that I faced, it was definitely that dilemma and distraction.
Yeah. And there's this a lyric by Taylor Swift in one of her I think
You
it's
love Taylor.
yes, I think it's in her song Cardigan, but she's like, when you are young, they assume you know nothing. And
Mm,
it's like, especially just over the past years I mean, since 2020, especially in the things we've gone through just as a nation, as a country. And when I went to college and I was less ignorant to things that, you know, are very prominent in real life issues in this world that
yeah.
I just sort of got more familiar with as I grew up and matured and realized different things, even though these aren't affecting me, it's affecting people around me, and that's something I care about. And
Hmm.
just sharing that word with others, that, you know, height of intellectuality. People kind of, I felt like just because of my age, people were like, well, what do you know? What do you know?
Right.
But I'm like, well, first of all, funny of you to question me when I'm in college actively learning things.
Right.
You know, anyways,
Right.
that's a whole nother thing we could spiral down. Um, but just to saying
And,
like,
and
yeah,
wisdom tells us we don't know it all, but we know enough to
yeah,
have this truth that we speak of.
hmm
So, yeah.
yeah, definitely. Whoops, definitely can dive deep with all of those different things. But just to round back and come back into where we were, just glad you are where you are and that you've found this amazing band that you have with you in Someone's Review, and it's all unity together, and it's a beautiful thing that I love to see, and I'm so happy for you. But back to the tour, that's actually what we were saying, and what you overcame, and where you are today. So I guess though, looking at, you know, these hardships that you face and getting there, it seems like you overcame them by staying true to yourself, having patience, believing. You're very connected with your spirituality, so believing in, you know, God's timing, God's placement.
Yeah.
Is how you would say you overcame them?
Um, a lot of prayer, a lot of patience,
Hmm.
a lot of mistakes that I chose to learn from
Hmm.
and
I
not
like that.
victimize
Yeah.
myself or blame others. Even if it was somebody else's fault.
Yeah.
Um, staying resilient,
Mm.
staying resilient. You have to stay resilient because anything you do can drive you crazy.
Yep.
Anything you do. It don't matter. And if whatever your piece is, it may not be praying, it may not be spirituality, it may be working out, it may be talking to others. It may be going out and having a drink and party, and that's okay. That's
Hmm.
okay. Don't, know your limits. But whatever that release is, honor it, because you don't want to lose yourself. You really don't want to lose yourself. So, yes, spirituality, practicality, reality
Yeah.
has been my grounding, because again, I'm thankful to say I kind of got all of the floral out of, oh, I'm a star, I'll get this and I'll get that out. Now I'm able to say, when those things come,
Hmm.
hey man, if they never come, I'm still that motherfucker. I'm
Yes.
still that nigga. I'm still that bad bitch. There's nothing changes. So yeah, yeah, that's how I feel about that.
Yes, and I know that is right, and I can relate to that as well because I I am still kind of in that like floral, like very delusional phase a little bit here and there, but I've also come to terms with like, patience and with my creation and in my creative space, through content creation and YouTube and things like that.
Mhm.
A thing right now I see a lot of people saying is like, just post a video, just post a video. I've been posting videos since Vine. Like,
Yeah,
like I've been posting the videos, girls, um but yeah, it just, when your time comes, it will. And
it will.
being able to sink into that, and like you were saying with reality too, reality is a big thing. Like, yes, we can be dreamers, we can be have these aspirations and get inspired, but reality is an important thing as well because it's reality, right?
Mhm.
So just getting in tune and in touch with everything is
And,
super.
and the reality, if I may, Kirsten, the
Yeah.
reality doesn't mean disassociate from your dreams. It means to associate your dreams with reality.
Yes.
Because a lot of people keep it real, keep it real, keep it real.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm keeping it real, but we can't get so caught up in the fantastical that we forget the opportunities lead us to our dreams. They lead us to the dream world that we want. So, you have to sometimes play assistant and secretary, even though you've been the CEO the entire, you gonna have to send that extra email. But I promise you that extra wherewithal, that I reached out to for Summons Review. I reached out to the band artist 3 times. And at first I took it as, oh, he's uninterested.
Mm-hmm.
He's a great artist. He's a great musician. The second time I reached out, it didn't work out. And I'm like, oh, he's just a flake. He's just a flake. But then my spirit was like, no, just keep going. Just keep, because there's something about him. If you want him, you have to work for him. It's not that, you have to follow through with that.
Mm-hmm.
And turns out that he's a new dad. And so,
Mm.
his world is of course tied up in just cuteness and new responsibility. And when we finally connect, he said, thank you. Thank you for just following through and making sure that we follow through with this, that we follow. And this person, Jericho Black, he is the epitome of an imprint of soul and guitar for and in modern contemporary soul, and even in that old school swing, he has it. And again, we're more on the younger side, so it's definitely a thing that I'm proud of. So again, like K Dot said, sit down and be humble.
Mm-hmm.
Just stay humble. That's what I mean in that reality. Because a lot of people, again, they get that misconstrued. That means dim it down, didn't know. Keep it up, keep it
That's
up.
true.
But put your blinders on.
Yes,
You know
yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I think that's a like actually perfect way to put it. I was like, yes, like that was perfectly said. And I think it's really important to say these things too because people can be turned away from their dreams and from following the path that they see so easily because of chitter chatter over here, chitter chatter over there. So thank you for saying all that. That was amazing. I mean, I myself am like, you're just so well spoken and your words just always hit no matter whether it's wrapping up a Love Blue meeting or you on social media or a story that you posted or anything. I knew this was gonna be good. You're amazing. Okay. So now we're gonna look back a little bit again. And we may have touched on this, but I'll just ask again. So looking at where you are today, is this something, I guess like getting very specific, like exactly where you are, exactly everything you have. Is this something you have visioned, or are you somewhat surprised with where your vision's took you and what you do with what you do have now?
I'm gonna put it like this. I thought it was gonna take way more money for what
Mm.
type of production we currently have. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll put it like that. The energy, the momentum in each branch. Like, and now we're starting to see a great return. Now, the biggest return in our branches of all of four of our branches is
Mhm.
Summons Catering right now, is in the lead.
Wow.
Yeah, Summons Catering is really in is paying the bills right now.
And I didn't even freaking know about it. Shame
Yeah,
on
yeah, I
me.
mean,
Oh my gosh.
I just did the report and I said, okay, all right. Actually, yeah.
Yeah. People love to eat. And you know what's actually too is so beautiful about all of this and the dynamics of Summon's production? Everything can wrap in together. I mean, you have an event, you get to design it, you get to cater it, you are playing at that event. Like, that's so powerful. And the messages that you want to convey and the people you stand for and the communities, we haven't even gotten into Romo yet. And like these people don't even understand what we're about to talk about.
Yeah.
I
Mm,
mean, there's just so many things. It's really amazing to see. Yeah.
thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so looking into the tour just a little bit more. So as an independent artist,
Hmm.
what goes into putting a tour together? And then I think you mentioned this as well. Well, yes, you have a team now. I
Hmm.
know when you were first starting, you were saying it's independent. But yeah, just give us a little bit more about behind the scenes, putting it all together, logistics, things like that.
Logistics is first your network.
Mm.
Again, if I'm speaking to all the artists of all kind, because this is the formula for all artists,
Yeah.
even when you're in college, you have to work on your network from day one. When I first stepped foot in California in 2017, I knew the most important thing that I came here for was to build a network, not the name drop, but to
Mm-hmm.
build resource and to learn. Because, of course, people aren't going to come in when you're the newbie and give you much. They're not going to
Mm-hmm.
give you much. All right. They're just going to give you a very prefixed amount of information and witness what you do with that. And
Mm.
from there, it may take months, it may take years, but a relationship coils and it builds. And trust and believe whatever provisions you may have with them, even if it's collaboration, even if it's partnership, even if it's just, even you again utilizing their already established platforms, there will be a level of fluidity and great support behind you.
Mhm.
So, logistically, you have to know it. Understanding your community and understanding who is authentically, unapologetically for you and your brand. I heard this quote by a singer that I truly love and look up to. Her name is Yolanda Adams. She said, you have to make a decision because there's always going to be that 40% of people that's not going to be for you. But then there's going to be that 100% of people that are going to be for you. And you have to make that choice that you choose that 100% of people who are telling you to keep going and who are giving you solutions, not just criticism, because it's easy to somebody say, well, this is what you should do and stuff, but giving you
Mhm.
solutions saying, here's a resource, here's a number, here's my platform you can use, here's my resource you can use, here, connecting you with the people. Because again, if you're a talker like me or if you have a good network like me, they know what you got going on. So connecting you with the people that can help advance your quality. So logistically, being bold and understanding that as you understand all of that, you're going to need to know how to sum yourself up in 3 words because everybody ain't got time for your testimony. I'm
Hmm.
sorry.
That's true. That
And this
is
is
true.
coming. This is coming from the preacher.
Yeah.
Everybody ain't got time for your testimony. So you
Hmm.
have to learn how to sum yourself and not you have to know how to confidently and genuinely give them 3 words to remember you by,
Hmm.
whatever it is. And it may be in the signature of your quality. It may be in your smile. It may be in the way you dress. It may be in the way you smell. It may be, whatever your thing is, your signature thing is,
Mm.
whatever your je ne sais quoi, as the French say, is,
Yeah.
work it. Work it. Don't
Yes.
think you gotta be, you gotta be all content with just like work it. People
Mm-hmm.
see it on you, they witness it on you, and it somehow creeps into the room and you're the one responsible for it. Therefore, own that energy and know how to sum yourself up and be quick. That's what I would say on the logistical side. Strategically side, as you have your network, you need to know, what are the spaces that will invite you and
Mm-hmm.
that will also promote you. And
Mm.
so right now, that's where we are as a team. That's how we've established the tour. It's not just about getting the return of financial gain yet. We want exposure.
Yeah.
Luckily, we're in the Bay Area. I'm in
Mm-hmm.
Oakland, California. I'm next to Berkeley, California. I'm next to San Francisco, Sacramento, Santa Cruz, and these are the places that we will be touring as well.
Yeah.
Los Angeles, we will be all around California from the Bay Area to SoCal, Orange County. I'm telling you, we are going to be present, and we look forward to doing that. But it's taken that logistics of ownership, understanding where we are, and just, establishing that realism.
Yeah, and you can tell it comes from over time. I really like that you brought up that point of connections because especially as someone, after graduating college and trying to get a job and do this and do that, it's always like, well, who do you know? Who do you know? Make connections, make networks. And I
Hmm.
used to simply think that just meeting someone should have been my connection and network, but no, it's like you said, you build a relationship off of that and also you show up as who you are, whether that's your, you know, style that you're giving off or whatever, and you are confident with that, that's what they're going to remember. That's what they're going to work with. Kind of going back to being your authentic self as well. If you're hiding any of that, you're going to give off this persona that then you have to work with that, and that could get messy. But
That's
I really,
real.
yeah, I really enjoy that you brought that up because it's the just knowing the depth of connecting with people and networking and truly learning how to utilize that is
Hmm.
super important. And it took me kind of like a minute to really learn that and understand all of that.
Hmm.
But yeah, and I think you can tell that over time you've built these relationships, you've grounded these resources, and since you genuinely took the time to meet with these people and form a bond with them when resources were needed, you were able to go out and use the resources, whether they were able to give to you or go and search for exactly what you needed. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
And those people that you got connected, that you have relationship with, because relationship will take you further than anything else that you could
Hmm.
imagine. Relationship. Once you have these people on the table, invite them, excuse me, once you have these people in your pocket, in your corner, and alongside you, invite them to your table.
Yeah, that's
Invite
so
them. I,
important.
I was chuckling because I was thinking of when I invited Executive Delvon Oates as the chief operating officer of Summons Productions. When I tell you, moving back to the Bay Area, the company could not have moved in the level of grandiose production that it did if it weren't for his support with
Mm.
all of his back. I mean, from the music to I mean, he was in every branch. I was like, bro, what are you doing? Like he is so much a part of the fabric. And so it would be a privilege to have him as the chief operating officer. And I was laughing because when I invited him to the table, I gave him the offer. He's like, for real? He was just like, he could not believe it. He was like, you want me to be COO? I was like, yes,
Yep.
yes,
Yes.
yes. I want you to be
Yeah.
COO. And he with so much grace took the responsibility and he has sustained it. So that's
Mm.
just an example of again
Yeah.
people that's for you. Just give them that. And again, like they won't fail you. I had my car broke down. I called him. He was right there. Like I
Yeah.
mean, you gotta have people in your corner like that. In
Yeah.
every
That's so
personal
important.
and professional space because we have really conquered and conquering some giants in the world of entertainment and industry for
Yeah.
independent artists. Yes.
Yeah, I can imagine, just as like, a freelancer myself, but I can imagine the music industry, and especially you're like close to Hollywood as well. So even just being over there, that's where everyone, I feel like, a big chunk of people go is that area, LA in
Hmm.
California, to, live out their dreams and all of that. So
Yeah.
yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah. Yeah. And the Bay Area is kind of we have our own music scene authentically
Mm.
because of LA and because of the
Mhm.
glitz and glamours of it. And we take, I mean, we have Janis Joplin, Grateful Dead, Jimi Hendrix. They all came from the Bay Area. They all came from Haight, Ashbury. You know what I'm saying? Like it was Brent Fayez, comes from the Bay Area. Larry June, if you're familiar with him. So it's just a great amount of sound that has been established, but so authentically. And I'm thankful to be a part of that sound because you do kind of get lost in the imagery in
Oh yeah.
LA. I
Yeah.
have never to experience to be completely real. And I'm not having no shade against LA. Also, no shade.
Right. Yeah, no, me neither. I would
No
go there
shade.
the
We
second
love
they
LA.
invited
We
me.
love LA.
Yeah.
So not saying anything wrong about them, and I only say that to also add, in my experience of living in the Bay Area, I have never been so provoked to go to Los Angeles. I've only gone twice in the
Hmm.
5 years of me living in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
I'm so much connected here, and I've gone to plenty of areas. I've gone to plenty of SoCal, San Diego, different Irvine,
Mhm.
Santa Monica, all of them. Yeah, Santa Barbara, yes, like all of them. So, Santa Fe, yes. Um, Hollister, everywhere. So we've been there. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's just different vibes. A part of the along the coast, different vibes. I'm
Yeah.
glad to be a part of the Bay Area Coast vibe.
Yeah. And I think too, when you were saying just like beyond the relationships, like invite these people to your table, that's so important as well. And that is also how you form community.
Yeah.
And community is huge. Community is what we're going to touch on a lot in the part two of this episode, so make sure you come back for that. Before we dive into community and the beauty of Refuge of Mount Olive in part two, that you will have to come back for, listeners, I do want to wrap up this episode about Summit's production. And so, just looking into the future, what excites you about this tour? What do you vision for Summon's production moving forward as it grows, as time goes on? And also, what would you tell others in this industry who look up to you or are looking to follow a similar path? Sorry, that was a lot. I threw all of those questions together at once, but I
No
figured they
need
can
to
go hand in
apologize.
hand.
The best way that I can describe my feelings towards the tour is in song with my favorite and the band's favorite and fans' favorite, Alpha Fly. I feel my heartbeat pounding to the rhythm of this life that I'm living. Who knows what the future holds? So I might as well get down at every moment. Alpha Fly. We're gonna be Alpha Fly.
I
Starting
love
spring.
that.
Yeah, we are going to do our thing. And I look forward to doing it alongside Jericho Black, Jordan McGoran, Chris Luong, Chloe Joseph, Tommy, and the entire team that's going to support. So I just am looking forward to what God will do through us, by us, and most importantly, how we're going to connect with audiences. Because my goal is to make people feel good, make them feel better than the way that they entered into the
Yeah.
experience. So, I really want to leave. We desire to leave people with a dynamic experience, that they will think about and they want more and will want to know when we're performing. We want to present good music. We will be launching in the spring of this year, so look forward to that. Look forward to that, and we will be launching. You can follow us at Summons Prod, SummonSprod on Instagram. You'll be able to find us, and that's where you'll find all the tour dates that we will be releasing. I would say to individuals who look up to me, I would tell them don't. I would tell them look alongside me. I would tell them bear witness, but also focus on their truth. And when they do need a listening friend or an encouraging friend, rather, they know where to find the music. They know where to find the sound. They know where to find unique interviews like this. and understand that you are meant to do exceedingly and abundantly more than you could ever imagine. Therefore, press, therefore, believe, therefore, do. It's going to take some time, especially if it's anything good.
Mm-hmm.
If it comes quick, be concerned.
Mm-hmm.
But if it comes at the right time, thank the heavens above that you were able to witness the success that you so rightfully deserve. And tell yourself every day, through it all, even if you have to work for somebody for a little while, someone you may not agree with, but it helps you to sustain your reality right now. Keep creating. Don't sit there and waste an hour talking about how they make you mad. Use that to create. Use that to focus on what is meant for your life and its betterment. Because they're gonna be just right there when you leave them. When you doing
Mm-hmm.
your thing and working your thing, they're gonna be just right there.
Yep.
So leave them in grace, leave them in peace, leave them in God if you have to. But just focus on creating you so you could get to the freedom that your life has been chosen to live liberated in.
Yeah. Wow. Once again, your words are so moving. But I think that's really beautiful. And at first, when you were like, people who look up to me don't, I'm like, what? But then you said, work along me. Yeah, that's so heartwarming and so wholesome and so you. And it is exactly why I wanted to bring you on to this podcast for people who are looking for motivation and just inspiration and inspirational stories like yours. Dreamers, people who see beyond the surface level of things and expand and want that for others as well. So I really appreciate you for that. I appreciate your time being here, sharing your stories, opening up with us, and just allowing all of us to hear all the words of wisdom that you shared and everything that you had about Summit's production and everything else that comes with it. I mean, oh my goodness, I'm like freaking out now because there's so much more we could do. But I just want to thank you for taking this time and thank you to everyone who is here listening, who's tuned in. You can find Don't Wait Till Monday podcast on Instagram and TikTok at Don't Wait Till Monday podcast. Janande, I will let you plug all of your social media as well, where people can find you, find the rest of Someone's production, all those good things.
Yes, you can find me on Instagram at DrandaSummons. You can find Summons Productions at SUMMONSPROD. You can find the Summons Firm at SUMMONSFIRM. Summons Catering to be launched soon at Summons Catering. And just stay with the journey. Stay with us. More to come. Thank you. Thank you, Kirsten, for having me. God bless you. I am so privileged to be on Don't Wait Till Monday podcast.
Thank you. And that will wrap up this part one. So come back for part two if you want to hear more about Refuge of Mount Olive as we talk about that. And yeah, I will see you in the next one. Bye.